Not on my watch, motherfuckers. Not on my watch. We live. Aquarian Anarchy. We're protecting the children. We'll be right back. Tonight's quote is from Emma Goldman. No one has yet realized the wealth of sympathy, the kindness and generosity hidden in the soul of a child. The effort of every true education should be to unlock that treasure. So what do they do instead? They fucking manipulate, exploit, rape, pillage, enslave,
murder
the children instead. Welcome to Aquarian Anarchy. Sorry to start it off on such a somber note, but look, the reality is the reality. How y'all been doing, gentlemen?
What's cracking with you? I'm solid. Can't complain. Other than these idiots fucking with the kids once again, and you know that's one of their easiest targets nowadays. But you know, other than that, I'm good. Working on making sure that I craft my own as my siblings and make sure that they're functioning individuals when they walk out into society. So yeah, good solid.
Yeah, I'm doing all right too. It's been a long week, and today was a long day. Work screwing me over is pretty typical, but that doesn't have anything to do with the kids. I've been looking forward to this conversation because there's nothing more important in any of our lives than our children, and you know, of course, the biggest evil the world has ever known, the state, is of course going after kids.
So let's look, if you guys don't mind, let's look at the first way they're going after the kids, which is something pretty disgusting. We're gonna look at something that is just being released right now on Disney Plus streaming service. Everybody remembers Big Hero 6 and our lovely friend Baymax. I didn't even think about it, but like I was thinking like, oh damn, like they have a whole like AI health bot that's gonna just inject shit into you and tell you what to do and what to eat, what not to eat, all this stuff. Like, oh crap, man, this is they've been setting us up for a minute. And now the setup is nearing its completion because they got, I don't know, it's hard not to call him something else, Max. But anyway, Baymax is now in the feminine products section. Let's just watch the video and I'll let you guys react.
Excuse me, which of these products would you recommend?
Oh, well, these are the tampons I usually use.
Thank you.
I prefer pads. They're more comfortable for me.
Thank you.
I always get the ones with wings.
Thank you.
Get unscented and bleach-free if you can.
Thank you.
Yo, my daughter loves these.
Thank you.
These might be easier if it's her first period.
Thank
These are really environmentally friendly.
And it's going to repeat. That's it.
Yeah.
What the hell does this have to do with little children?
Right. You know, I get that lots of people are worthless piece of shit parents and need some help. I get it. Not Disney's fucking job. Not Disney's fucking job. Disney's fucking job is to entertain kids for about an hour and a half to 2 hours with some nonsense. That's their job. Not to teach kids about biology, not to teach kids about all that stuff. If I want that, I'm sure that I can find it.
Oh shit, my bad. I put this thing. Well, what the fuck? Let's just go with it. So, I was just getting it ready, and I accidentally hit the share button, so it's on the screen. So these guys came out. It looks like they just created their account. It says it was created in June of 2022. I don't know how long they've been active or whatever, but it just popped up on my timeline. It was actually in a group that I was in. Somebody shared this, and damn, we got an airplane in there.
Oh, my bad. It's my fan. You know, it's hot as hell. I got you though. We can lower the gain. Hold on.
Anyway, so these guys come out and they have their come out. I didn't mean it like that. That wasn't no pun intended. But anyway, it's a coalition of gay people who oppose the recent trend of indoctrinating and sexualizing children under the guise of the rainbow agenda, right? Okay, so now we did request an interview with these guys. We did not get that request fulfilled, but we did get a response that they were tied up. They had another stream tonight that they were part of, and so we are going to reconnect and try to make that happen in a week or a day coming up in the near future, hopefully. What were you going to say, Marcus?
No, I was just like, yeah, that's amazing. And one of the things I particularly like about this is, this isn't a straight versus gay thing. This is you shouldn't do stupid shit with kids.
Look, man, because we've talked about this before. I had an issue with some folks in my family who were saying some stuff that was advanced stuff about the menstrual cycle to my son, who was, I think he was 8 or 9 at the time or something like that. And I was just like,
bro, what the fuck is you doing over there?
We don't need to be talking about that stuff. It's talking about like masturbation and stuff in front of them too. And I'm like, that ain't like for you to talk to my kids about. That's for me to talk to my kids about at the appropriate time and in the appropriate context, so that they understand like all of the different ramifications of all of this stuff and what the proper context that I, as their parent, want this stuff to be perceived under. And I think about it like this. Let's take something that is pretty universally benign, okay? Eating, right?
Right.
Now, if somebody comes and you have a 3-month-old and they start shoving steak in that 3-year-old's mouth. Now, there's nothing wrong with eating steak, but a 3-month-old cannot digest, cannot chew, is going to choke on that piece of steak.
Right.
So there's an appropriate time and an appropriate place for everything, even things that don't have any controversy around them. So this isn't, like Mike Marcus said, this isn't a straight versus gay thing. This is about when it's appropriate to talk to kids about the things that adults do.
Right.
Because the adults understand the consequences of that activity.
Right.
People are created. And if you don't want to create people, like we've seen in this last week, if you don't want to create people, there are certain activities you should not engage in, because when you engage in those activities, people are always a possibility. And then you're faced with this choice of snuffing out that life or of taking care of it. And if you're not prepared to take care of it, that could really, make life difficult for you and could make it suboptimal for that kid. So that's why parents who understand what it's like to have and raise a child should be the people talking to their children about the things that lead to the creation of children, so that those kids can be better equipped when the time is right to handle all the responsibility that comes with that. I wouldn't give a 18-month-old a pet to care for either.
Pet.
Okay. Question.
I wouldn't give him. I wouldn't give a 9-month-old a Rottweiler. Like there's things that are appropriate at the right age and time, and there are things that are not. That's all this is about. Go ahead.
Entirely true. But what does it when it comes to about like, say like when you get corrupted at school, opposed to like you're supposed to learn it from your parents. What's an acceptable age to learn it from your parents, and then what's the age you like really get corrupted?
Well, the bottom line is,
but I'll let Marcus go first. Yeah.
Okay. The bottom line is it's up to the parent.
That is true.
At the end of the day, there are parents that believe that you can just sexualize the living hell out of your kids and it's not going to hurt them. All right. There are people that believe that. Great. Do that with your kids. Those are your choices. You'll deal with the ramifications of doing that. All right. Have at. Not my choice. And Disney and these other assholes do not get to make that choice for me.
Very true.
So as a parent, because I have dealt with this 4 times, 4 times, when somebody at school says some stupid shit, it is my job to say, they're wrong about that. Or oh, they're not exactly right about that. Or, hey, I meant to get around to telling you about that. I guess they beat me to it. Here it is. Whatever those choices are. But the parent gets to decide this. This is not, I'm sorry for these people that want a community to raise a child. That's great if as a parent you volunteer to do that. That's on you. I choose to raise my kids myself with the aid of my wife. Period.
Facts.
Yeah, and so we're going to get into some of this other stuff later, but and that's where like the Baymax thing kind of comes into play. It's like, yeah, you also there's certain medical procedures that you want to be, you want to have a little bit of control over what happens to your kids, and you don't want that kind of stuff happening at school without your knowledge or anything like that. I'll answer you this way, Nicco, about that sex conversation. So I think that some of these conversations, if you understand properly, and that's why I would recommend parents of young children who are not quite sure, because there are a lot of people. We probably experienced a little bit of this ourselves. I don't know how early you learned or Marcus or Nicco, but I would imagine it's probably something not all that different from what kind of the way that I learned. I said something stupid and it was out of context and I didn't understand what I was saying. And my dad was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like I said something about rape. I was like 10 or something like that. I didn't know what rape was. Like and that was the thing. Like we were in a different, more innocent time back then in the 70s and 80s, where like you didn't hear some of this stuff unless you were exposed to certain things. Like it was harder to get exposed to all that stuff. You didn't have a phone, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have all this stuff, and they didn't talk about that stuff on the shows that you watched because it wasn't normal to like put that shit on in prime time. Right. But anyway, I said some stupid shit about rape or something like that because I thought it just meant like beating somebody up. And so I was like, talking about getting in a fight with somebody, and my dad was like, whoa, 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 what? And so then that's when I got the talk, I got the talk at that point. And I think, probably if he had it to do all over again, he would have started that conversation maybe a little earlier before I got some of that information, handed down to me from some of these, 12 or 13-year-old kids at school, because they're stupid as shit too. They just don't know it. They think they know everything. So what we did with our kids is the stuff that my brother teaches, the theology of the body, where it talks about when you think about it, like in the image and likeness of God. And when you think about like, okay, well, why do people, if you have kids watching, tell them to look, it's probably too late now.
We curse a lot.
We cuss a lot. We already said a bunch of stuff that you probably didn't want. So I hope they weren't watching. But anyway,
you made a mistake and you're going to have to explain.
It says not for children in the description of this video.
All of our videos say that, right, just to be clear.
Exactly. So that's on you. But anyway, the theology of the body teaches that, if we're made in God's image and likeness, the man, the reason you have a penis and it's outward like that is because you are to be a gift to your wife. And the female, it implies receptivity, right? So she receives, the man gives, the woman receives, and then if things work out correctly, then a baby is created, and that gift that she received is then born forth as a gift to the world as this new person, this new life. And when you think about it that way and you start talking about these things, it's like, okay, well then it doesn't have to get into all that nuts and bolts stuff that can make people like either too curious or it gets taboo or gross for some people. And then you just kind of tiptoe towards the answers, but you do it in the proper context so that as that conversation starts to blossom, it's already set up and framed in the right way. And you start having that conversation, and it comes from more of a, more of a spiritual place than from a purely mechanical, biological space or place. So that would be my answer is that I think that as soon as they start asking questions, why do I have a penis? Why do I have balls? You know what I mean? Shit like that. Like there's ways to answer that stuff and to answer it in a
Indirectly.
proper way. Yeah, well, it doesn't even have to be indirectly. It can be directly, but not fully revealed. Like if you think about it, like a lot of the things that we have in when we're talking about spiritual mysteries and things like that, it's revealed to us at the moment that we're ready to understand it properly.
For sure.
Until then, a lot of our ignorance is our own inability to see the revelation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you know, I know from my point of view, just to kind of add to that, Chad, from my point of view, the bottom line is, you know, yes, we can't control the what happens to the kids, like Nicco was saying, but there's a bit of an understanding that when you're dealing with the public square, if you will,
Yeah.
that there are things that we don't talk about in the public square because different people have different standards. And, you know, it is not, again, to what I started with, it is not Disney's place to tell my kids. Disney is supposed to be, and I get that Disney's been doing this shit for a long time. I understand that. I've seen it. I can, but most of it, like when Aladdin had a big penis on the cover, my little girl didn't go, "Hey, Dad, look, a penis." No, that didn't happen.
No.
Because she had no idea what a penis was.
Right.
But I know that it's there, but it's not directly propaganda.
I see what you're saying. They were a little more subtle and subliminal messaging at that point, whereas now it's just like, by the way, this is Baymax's cock.
Right.
It's like, whoa, wait, what? You know what I mean? Like it's coming, Nicco. Baymax 3 is going to be Baymax. Baymax got an addictomy surgery.
Right. And you know, it just the purpose, just to kind of nail it down. The reason for this, in my opinion, is to sterilize. Whether or not how we get there is to sterilize sex. Whether it is, like you've pointed out before, Chad.
It's so dead on, Marcus.
Right. Whether it is going towards 1984 where they eliminate sex or whether they just make it for fun. Either way, people at the top of the social chain are in charge of procreation. That is what they're trying to do. And the easiest way to do that is to make it cool to not do it. And that's hard.
Well, cool to pervert it.
Correct.
I don't even think it's necessarily just not doing it. I think they're cool if you do it, as long as you murder the result of it, or sterilize yourself in the process of doing it, or make yourself incapable of having that thing be procreative at all. Because what they want is beyond meat babies. They want it the same way that they're going to make. Yeah, the same way that they're going to make meat in a lab, they're going to make people in a lab.
Like, what kind of baby you want? Oh, you want blue hair, green eyes, yellow feet? Oh, all right, bet. We're going to make him a duck. Like, people are going to be making their kids ducks. You know how messed up that is? Like, because they want to? No, you are just completely fucking up what God intended.
Because a whole new meaning to that Cat Williams thing about a tiger. He's like, "Are you sure I'm a tiger?"
Yeah. So this is all propaganda, and it is on purpose. This is not a oopsie that they did this. Every bit of this is on purpose. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I wore this shirt tonight, baby. They are the most effective devil in America.
Disney has been so, like, in the movie Seeing Red, I watched it and I was watching it and I'm like, okay, this is a cute movie, but I understand what you guys are disguising this as. Why the fuck are you guys making it such as little boys really need to worry about this? Little girls need to worry about this until it comes, because they advertise it as a kiddie kid movie.
Yeah,
not one of those Shrek PG, I'm gonna get off with a whole bunch of adult jokes type PG. Nah, it was one of those kiddie kids, and they're getting little girls worried about, oh, I'm like, this boy is so hot, and they're like legit like having their little fangirl moments, and I'm like, bro, stop this. Like, stop enticing this amongst children. It's not it's not your jobs to like try and spark emotions. The only time like I would ever see something like that would be Johnny Bravo. But Johnny Bravo was most definitely like adult kids.
Right, but that's
like
not,
that.
yeah, that's not
It
5-year-old.
wasn't. Yeah,
I
no,
was
it
gonna say,
wasn't.
that was
It
Cartoon
wasn't like,
Network, man.
yeah, it wasn't like Cartoon Network wasn't purported for like children.
Right.
And so like,
But even still, it was, if you think about it, that
Entertainment,
was a
by
little bit of an
comparison.
okie doke there, you know, where they're like, hey, it's cartoon. When they started making adult cartoons, that's when it started, because you knew, like, all right, if I'm watching a cartoon, it's for kids. If I'm watching a live action, I'm not sure, because it could be for kids, but it could be for adults. So let me keep an eye on it and see. And then you start slipping in Ren and Stimpy and all that.
Ren and Stimpy was they started getting slick with the shows.
Beavis and Butthead, you know what I mean? It's like,
So
this
with
is
the,
not for kids.
I'm curious, Chad, with the thing that you posted, what is the rating on that? Just curious. Is it G or PG?
That I don't know. Let me hang on. I can find out. Give me just a second. While we're doing that, though, check out what Jimmy Doss wrote. Read that out for the audience, because that's good shit right there. And we appreciate you, Jimmy, for
sure
being out there.
And one of our new anarchs in our anarch chat.
That's right. Join Jimmy in the anarch chat, people.
Please do.
All right, so let's see. I'm gonna pull it up and see what we're looking at here.
Are we talking about the movie?
Yeah,
the movie I think was PG.
It's not. Is it PG? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Big Hero 6 was PG.
Well, no, but not Big Hero 6. I'm talking about the new one.
Seeing Red or whatever it is.
No. There's a new movie called Baymax that Disney just released.
Oh, that's a movie?
That's legit. That's not just like some commercial.
I thought it was
like
a commercial.
Elmo getting his vaccine or something. No, this is like that's another. I forgot to send the Elmo getting his shot.
What? That's a movie.
That's Disney, a new movie.
You're bugging, Brody. You're bugging, Brody. Disney, you're bugging.
What up, Nahi?
That doesn't make any sense. So you're telling me that they got a whole movie and Baymax is worrying about gender right now?
Yep. Not just gender.
Not just gender, but like it's still a kid's show. But the thing is like you're still tampering with the idea.
Oh, it's a TV series. It's not a movie.
yeah. It's even worse than a movie.
Oh,
it's coming on with bullshit every week.
Right.
Yo, I didn't realize it was a series. All right, hang on. We're gonna pull this thing up. I'm gonna pull it up. It's on IMDb. I gotta pull this. I'm gonna pull this into the screen share right now.
Dirty bastards. Just some dirty ones.
Where you at? Here we go. All right, here comes. All right, so here's homeboy. You know, the same kid who was like inventing shit and everything last time. Same kid. I'm trying to see where it says the rating.
You know what though?
It doesn't have a rating.
Yeah, of course.
It just says original series, and it doesn't show 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb. All right, let's go. Somebody's paying attention. This is some bullshit. It does not say like a parental rating type thing. Mm-hmm. It's just.
I mean, you could just parental rating the show.
Well, no, but what I'm saying, I want to see what they listed it as. You know, it says.
Well,
I know this show is aimed at kids, but I enjoyed watching it. More engaging than Miss Marvel. Okay, so like we know this is aimed at kids. Okay, it's aimed at kids, and they got a dude. Let's go back because I want y'all to see this. Shit, I gotta share the other screen. Hang on. So we want to show y'all what we're talking about in case you joined us late. Oh my god! All right, here we go. This is the problem. This is why we are having this whole discussion. Because we're just talking about what they're trying to do to kids and how it is just inappropriate. So this is Baymax. This is part of the new series. He's in the feminine products section at the pharmacy.
Excuse me, which of these products would you recommend?
Yeah, and that's what I look at. The look she just gave is what I looked at like when I first saw this.
Yes, they're more comfortable for me.
Thank you.
I always get the ones with wings.
Thank you.
They got the dude. It's a dude in a t-shirt.
Yo, my daughter loves
I always
t-shirt.
get.
This might be
easier if it's her first period.
These are really environmentally friendly.
This man is talking about how he wears some shit with wings.
This is the second. This is the second time that they're mentioning something about girls' genitalia.
Word? You
Like,
see?
Like, this is the second Disney movie that they blatantly just like, wham!
Yo, and look,
Related.
not for nothing, but have you noticed how much more the push is for men to be women?
Yes. Yeah, easily. They were trying to
for sure.
Bro, it's men can have babies, men can have periods, men can, men can play women's sports.
Right.
Like, and it's crazy too, because they're getting the cosign from the women, because the women like, that's like their friends. The friends, it's like the girls, the dude that hangs out with all the girls is the gay dude who's their gay friend.
Sure.
Who says all the same shit, goes shopping with them and everything. And now it's this, oh, you used to be a dude, now you're, it's that Orange is the New Black, where you got that dude who's like, he got himself switched up so he could be in the women's prison. And there's nothing iffy about a dude being in the women's prison, showering naked with them and everything. Anyway, all this to say, it's just interesting to me how ultimately what we're at here, to Marcus's point about like sterilizing sex. That's one. But the other thing is, which is crazy, is castrating men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
easier to control. That's why they do it.
It's just, wow. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
and let's put another layer on this as well. It is not a coincidence that Epstein's a thing. Mm-hmm. Our entire fucking leadership in every government globally are fucking pedophiles.
They're depraved sex addicts who prey on children because they can't get it from people, from their peers.
Like, so now they're just indoctrinating people.
Yeah, right. Unless they want to raise. Stupid
motherfucker. And Disney has outright said that they are absolutely programming a new understanding of sexuality.
Oh yeah, they got. Let me show. Hang on. While we're on that subject, let me pull this thing up, because we're gonna go back to the IMDb thing, because I got to show y'all a new thing that Disney has coming out. Y'all remember? So this was like in the 90s. It was a book, or something like that. I saw. So this is it. This is Trevor the musical. It's about a dude who's
I love
going through it, coming out.
Ooh, the colors are just
the colors
fucking tastic right now. Wait, a 4.9, goddamn.
There it is. Look at it. And it's a dude. It's a gay dude. Again, it's got to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, man.
Disney's doing work. Wait. So, like, have parents not been complaining? Like, have parents not been like,
there's so many people. All right, so you got here's how this breaks out. You have the super conservative parents who bitch about this and still, do Disney stuff.
Right.
Still take their kids to Disney and everything, until eventually you're gonna either have to have the shots or you're gonna have to be trans to get into Disney.
or you can go ahead and let your kids be raped at the door. They'll let that
right.
fly
That too. Yeah, shit, man. But
your kid is the ticket. Go ahead.
Look, man. Look, you ever wonder why, like, Britney Spears and Miley Cyrus and
they all got
Demi Lovato and all them,
they all just tweaked out because they were touched, probably. And more than okay, they were touched.
Man, what do you think? How much? Look, we've talked about what they do with like the NBA and the NFL and some of that stuff, where some of these initiations or these sacrifices that have to happen, like Magic Johnson, Dwayne Wade, and all this stuff, where it's like, Michael Jordan, with his dad. Like, there's some people who say that he put his dad up as his piece or whatever for his offering or whatever. I don't know, but what do you think it takes to have your kids star on Disney?
Yeah, a lot.
Yikes!
Used to be they put them up at Michael's place, Jackson.
Yeah,
Remember when that was a big deal? Remember when Michael Jackson touching little kids and giving them the Jesus juice was a big deal? Was bad. Remember that?
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not sure where I fall on that, because like on the one hand, I don't know that they didn't set Michael up.
I think
Sure.
And that he wasn't doing any of that stuff.
They did my boy Mike dirty. Come on.
But on the other hand, I don't
Sure.
know that maybe that's part of the follow me here. What is that's part of the okie doke too, is that they used that and people defending Michael Jackson as a way to make it normalized. Like,
Right.
No. He didn't do any of that to those kids. Like, and now you got people who are, they're calling into question the people who were involved with Epstein. Like, but they were just friends. And, you got like Elon Musk with pictures with Ghislaine Maxwell, like, and they're
They were
like,
just
no,
happened to be at the same place.
She just photobombed him. Like, all right, maybe,
Mhm.
but maybe not too. Like, can we at least entertain them? Maybe not.
Look,
Yeah.
When you're high up, you know who the fuck is who. So therefore, I know damn well, being a celebrity, and every celebrity in their public image, I'd be damned if Shorty photobombed me, because I'd go to jail for knocking her out.
Right.
Like, that would be the kind of picture you would catch me on.
Yeah, it would be that every time somebody showed that picture, they'll be like, yeah, and then he knocked the piss out of her right after that. Do you remember?
You feel me? That would be a proper response.
Like when Will Smith slapped that dude for trying to touch him or whatever, and then Terry Crews didn't slap that dude for grabbing his balls.
So at the end of the fucking day, it doesn't matter, because
me too.
Wrong is wrong, and I don't care who did it. I don't care who's touching kids. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care who's behind it. Now, I do want to say that I am aware, and I'm sure that Nicco and Chad are aware too. This is all an agenda, and it is all divide and conquer. They're getting the conservatives pissed off and mad at the liberals, because the liberals are all gay for being gay and going out and wanting kids indoctrinated into being transgender at age 3. That throws conservatives for a loop and makes them mad. It's another thing they can do to twist and get our attention off of the important shit like that our country is currently spending billions of dollars trying to get us into a nuclear war. So I understand that this is divide and conquer. I get it. Does not make it right. It does not negate the fact that they're doing it.
Well, so let's tap into the money thing, because that's another, because this isn't just about that agenda. It's about the overall agenda that exploits and takes advantage of children. And there are tons of different ways that they do it. Some of it is with programming and marketing and trying to set up the next generations for whatever they have planned for sterilizing and sanitizing, and making it to where sex becomes purely for recreation and babies are made in test tubes and there's no real love anymore. And it's all we're all automatons doing the bidding in the matrix for whoever, and we're having all these artificial experiences pumped into our systems via some sort of AI or whatever else, some technology, transhumanism or whatever. Anyway, there's also the monetary system, the banking system, the inflationary creation of money that kicks the can down the road and forces these kids to pay the debts of the people who came before them. And really, we're all just paying for a very select few people doing their stuff. What's up, Jackson Artware? That's the first time I've seen him in the chat. Welcome, my man. We're looking forward to the merch whenever we get that. Y'all go to Jackson Artware on Twitter and hit him up. Tell him you want one of the Anarch Hotep shirts or any of the other stuff that we have. He's got some stuff on there, some links and everything. But anyway, the other thing is, like we talked about before we came on, the Social Security system. What did they do? They said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get the young people to pay into this system, and the old people get to retire on it. And then over time, you have fewer and fewer young people paying into the system, and more old people retiring. So then they created a magic bug that killed a bunch of old people. Anyway,
My bad.
And then that leads us to our next piece that we wanted to bring up, which is what they are doing to protect allegedly those old people by using children as I don't know,
Financial shields.
Yeah, for this stuff. What is this?
That's the pandemic thing.
No, but it's got something about notifications.
Yeah.
All right. So no, I had another thing that wasn't showing up on the screen, but it was showing up on mine. So anyway, pandemic babies with no immunity are ending up in intensive care across Australia with respiratory illness. What? Like what?
Right.
These are not pandemic babies. These are you injected their parents with shit babies.
Yep.
Pandemic babies.
Are you joking?
Hotep been told you guys. I remember saying, watch. None of these babies have been born yet. When they started sticking folks, I said, watch what happens when the babies start being born.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I told Amber this earlier today, and this is absolutely the truth. They do not want you to have an immune system. They want you to purchase an immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, grimy. So
listen.
Systems were wiped.
And so check it out. Check it out. This too. So here's what's crazy about this, right? So they just put this stuff on the market a year and a half ago, right? And so people start getting them. Then they get pregnant. Then they have babies. Then those babies are just now old enough to start getting the medicine. So now we get a story about how these kids don't have an immune system, and there's, we got to protect the babies by injecting them with the stuff now. It's like we're not gonna do any root cause analysis on why they actually ended up with no immune system. We're just gonna the ones who have an immune system, we're gonna try to destroy it.
World.
Protect your kids,
people.
Protect your babies.
What?
Jeez, this is insane.
Yo, and nobody's attention span is long enough to keep up with this. So they're gonna be like, oh no, well, my baby might have no immune system. I wonder how that happened. Oh, it's probably because I caught COVID and my life has changed. Damn you, COVID. Oh, well, I went to the doctor like a year and a half during the shits and, got jabbed up. And, I felt
third
like
booster now.
Shit, I'm
on my third booster now.
Yeah. And, they're doing such a great job. And then I have a baby and that motherfucker's immune system is non-existent.
Right.
What you said about the attention span, Nicco, it kind of makes me think so when you think about using that lack of attention span against people via fear, it's just like one of these, when you go to the arcade and they have the zombie games or whatever, where you have to shoot them and then one will just like pop up out of the corner of the screen. You didn't see it coming from the distance or anything like that. It just is up on you. That's how this shit is. You're like, holy shit, I didn't even know it's possible for my baby to be born with no immune system. How'd that happen? Inject him quick.
Right.
Save him with all your needles, and my bill come out to be $3 billion.
This is when instead of a zombie popping up in the corner, it's a little schoolgirl, and you just shot her.
Yeah.
Because you didn't realize she wasn't a zombie.
Right. Yeah, this in anybody that thinks that this is not evil isn't paying any goddamn attention.
Bro.
I don't. And come on, Bill Gates did a TED talk on reducing the population. This is not new news.
I want the Bill Gates juice. He funded it because he wants to save us. He wants to save us. Don't you ever speak ill on the person who stabbed us all up to make us feel better. All right.
India knew what the hell was going on, though. They kicked his ass out. They said, fuck you, Bill Gates. Get the fuck out of this country.
Americans don't pay no attention to India, but we pay attention to everybody else. Ukraine, those fun
for 10
people.
minutes.
Yeah. But we got flags still up. Hey.
Right.
In Chicago, every time I'm on the train, I most definitely see a flag or two. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Because we got to show support. But fuck black people.
All right. So y'all ready for the coup de grace of this whole
No.
thing. So we have the I gotta find the I gotta get the Elmo tweet. Hang on, let me do this real quick. Got it. All right, so search.
Is there? Oh no, actually, no bullshit though. It's been ramping up a lot because there's like TV shows where they have girls kissing girls, and like little kid TV shows such as like Legend of Korra. That used to, the first one was The Legend of Avatar, and then they made it a girl protagonist, and she was rubbing up on girls and kissing them, and it's like, yo, like,
Are you serious?
Yeah, not rubbing up on them, but kissing them and things of that nature. But still, it's like, yo, like, y'all just been throwing this. My little brothers and sisters and I were arguing, and like I was getting mad at them because they were telling me they're going down a list of like kids TV shows that they made certain characters gay or not gay.
Oh my
and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So like in the Proud Family. The Proud Family was my shit back in the day. You go to Disney Plus now, everybody in there, like every other little kid is gay, and I'm like, yo, come on, dog.
Are they rewriting it or this new episodes?
I think it's new episodes, but I don't think it's the same people writing it. I don't know.
So again, this is something that I've noticed for years now. And again, this really isn't. My daughter's gay. I don't really give a damn if somebody's gay or not. Don't care.
Yeah, word, me neither.
I don't.
I don't.
Right.
It's not my business. It's not my business. Just it doesn't need to be all.
What you just said is the key point.
It's none of my fucking business. Exactly. And it's
none of my business.
Right. And at the end of the day, though, name a new show that does not have a lesbian main character.
Yeah, word. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna try.
10% of the population is gay, and you know
what? They ramping up pretty fast, buddy.
So Ozark didn't have a whole bunch of that stuff. So I'll shout out to Ozark. There's a lot of murder and like I don't know.
You're correct.
What was one of the most controlling shows of the world for like at least 3 to 4 years, and it was on HBO. Game of Thrones was most definitely intertwined with a whole bunch of all kinds of people. Like all right,
incest and all kinds of weird shit.
It's okay though because that's an adult show. That's like HBO, sure, like it's for adults and all that. But at the end of the day, it's still pushed.
This on the other hand is for kids.
Right.
This is for kids.
So now we're going to Elmo.
So let's listen to Elmo talking to his bitch of a dad.
Now, Daddy has super duper bandages just like Elmo.
You were super duper today, getting your COVID vaccine, Elmo.
Yeah, there was a little pinch, but it was okay. Elmo was really glad to have Daddy and baby David there with him. Baby David, where are you?
And now Elmo
I
gets
had a
to
lot
have
of questions
cardiac
about
treatment.
Elmo getting the COVID vaccine. Was it safe? Was it the right decision? I talked to our pediatrician so I could make the right choice. I learned that.
Bro, why does Elmo's dad sound like he's in some like Confederate Army general like Gettysburg fucking movie series or something like that? I was worried about the COVID vaccine, but now I do declare that I have been advised by my pediatrician. The Colonel never lies. Eat my fried chicken.
Elmo has vaccinated the best way to keep himself, our friends, neighbors, and everyone else.
Yeah, he rocked on the front of his porch with a shotgun.
Oh, Daddy, Elmo and baby David have a question. Can we have a hug?
Oh, come here, son.
Elmo loves you, Daddy.
So Elmo's dad is the love child
okay
of Matthew McConaughey and Foghorn Leghorn. Apparently. That's who Elmo's dad is.
That's wild. Yeah, they just said
Elmo just learned what myocarditis is now.
Exactly.
Elmo's gonna have to go to the hospital soon.
He had to have been voiced by my man. That's crazy. Yeah, no. So
Elmo's daddy is a straight up bitch.
it's time to just take your boys at the age of 3, grab them by their shirts, throw them in the wilderness, and give them a shotgun and say, "Let's go, son," because this is no more, no mas.
Elmo's dad is voiced by Robert.
No mas. And then our girls, we're gonna set them up in little houses with teapots And we're just gonna say, watch your mom.
Elmo's daddy has a special friend named Trevor. Trevor loves to inject Elmo with other things.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
That was
probably
maybe that was a little
bad.
bit too far.
but it goes.
I couldn't help it.
The end of the day, the programming goes deeper than stupid shit like that propaganda. My son and I had a relatively long, and he's got so that everybody knows, my oldest son has a daughter named Kyra, who's my grandchild. She's amazing, really smart little girl. And he was talking about that he's having to monitor. Now, keep in mind, they don't have her watching anything but little kid shows, but they're having to monitor because one of the shows, and I don't remember which one, came on, and the kid comes out and the dad says, don't eat whatever this is, right? I don't remember what it was, but don't eat this thing. And the kid said, I didn't eat it. And the dad said, don't eat it. And he said, I didn't eat it. And then the dad walks away. The kid sticks his tongue out. He had eaten it. And he was like, ha ha, Dad, I ate it anyway. So it was teaching children to disobey on eating. What if that was poisonous?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like it's one thing about like, it's such a fine line, right? Because Marcus, we're like, as anarchists, like we've been through this. Like, I'm not trying to like teach my kids to obey unjust authority.
Correct.
So I asked, walking that line of like, listen, I love you. I'm going to explain to you why you need to do this, why you don't need to do that, X, Y, Z, whatever. And there is a certain level of like, look, I'm taking care of all this shit. I'm paying for all this shit. Like, you don't have to have a phone. You don't have to have, this, that, or the other. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go on whatever basketball trip with your team or whatever. Like, I can say like, no, he's punished. You can't go, whatever. And so it's tough, but that sort of stuff is, I'm not trying to have somebody else teach my kids to disobey me.
Correct.
Because I love my kids. You don't have a fucking thing to do with my kids if something goes awry and you're not around to pick up the pieces. Like you said, if my kid puts something poisonous in their mouth or whatever it is, that's dirty. And I actually had a thing like about like Harry Potter with that stuff. If you ever noticed, they always won the day by cheating, disobeying, doing something around the corners, around the edges of what's right and everything. And it was always interesting to me how Rowling chose to like frame things that way. That I could understand some of the corruption that they were fighting against that and like, going around those people, but they were like going around the people they respected and disobeying them too.
Right.
They're like, I love you, Dumbledore. Fuck you, bitch. I'm going to go do this even though you told me not to.
Right.
Like, what the hell? Like, you're going to go to your trusted advisor who you really revere and respect, and then you're going to go behind their back and betray them, and then you're going to get rewarded for it because they're going to be like, oh, Harry Potter, you knew better than I did. Like, that's always the conclusion. It's never like, maybe that dude knows some shit because he's a 900-year-old wizard or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
it's like the opposite of Yoda. Like it's
for sure. And the thing is, some of this isn't just poison. Okay.
Right.
For instance, to go to what they're putting in their mouth, kids. If I let my child at say 5 decide what the hell they wanted to eat, donuts it is every day.
Every time, yeah.
Donuts it is. What are we having tomorrow? Donuts.
Or let it happen
candy.
for a week. Let them feel like shit and be like, what did we learn? Come on, son.
But you're right, Chad. It is difficult to be a voluntarist or an anarchist in a world of authoritarians. It is hard because I will be the first to admit that I've made lots of mistakes, and I was very authoritarian when I was 20 years old and a father. For sure. I made
my
mistakes.
Moments too. I know what you mean. Yeah. I mean, my youngest is 13, and I haven't been like this forever. So you can imagine my oldest is 19. So like I was moving down the path, the anarchist path, so to speak. already when I had kids, but it was still, there was a lot of that. Because like my daughter was born in 03, and by like the 06, 07, 08 era, I was already like, this is something ain't right. This is some bullshit. So yeah, but it is what's to me, what's tough about it is there's what you said about in a world ruled by authoritarians. That's the biggest problem, because it makes it to where you have to try really, really hard to not be singing in harmony with authoritarians, because then you sound like them.
Right.
And it makes your kids think, hey, you sound like you're singing along the same song with these motherfuckers. So I'm going to disobey you and I'm going to ignore you. And it's really hard to not sound like you're singing that song when you're really looking out for the kids. It's kind of like, you ever see that movie, The Invention of Lying by Ricky Gervais?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's him and Jessica
I
Garner.
like Ricky Gervais, but no.
Yeah, so it's basically, I mean, he's like a big time atheist. He thinks like the whole concept of God and heaven and like afterlife is stupid, and that it's just something we tell ourselves to, you know, feel happier about dying.
Everybody's wrong about something.
Yeah, right. Well, this that's actually the basis of this show. This movie is, he or somebody, like, everybody tells the truth all the time, no matter what. And it's really uncomfortable for like us to watch, you know, because these people are like, I just don't like you. You're not very attractive. You know, like they'll just say that stuff to somebody. And it's like, it's insulting, but everybody's honest. So nobody takes offense to it, but it does cause issues with people. Well, then somebody's dying and they don't want to tell them. And so they like start making up like this. And Ricky Gervais actually invents this place that sounds like heaven. And then he like writes 10 commandments on pizza boxes and all this shit. And he has like this, he basically comes off like Moses, and he's kind of making a mockery of, you know, Christianity, or at least Judeo Christian type biblical ideas. Yeah. But it is interesting in the context of this, where in a world otherwise created, what reason would we have to lie to our kids? Right.
Yeah.
So it's some of this other stuff that we have to be like, we have to make sure that we don't sound like the liars.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's weird. It puts us in that situation where we feel like we're the oddball in this world.
Absolutely.
Like what is it? In a kingdom of liar, whatever the fuck it is. My brain is foggy. You know what I'm saying? In a kingdom of, in an empire of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. That's it. Anyway.
Yeah, something like that. Right. Yeah. So
my bad, y'all. I fucked it up bad.
It's all good. No, you didn't. You got it. You got the idea. You know, in for those that think that we think we're perfect, we don't. I made a mistake 2 weekends ago over Father's Day myself with this exact same kind of situation. Kyra is a very, very active child. Okay. I am literally at the moment introducing a friend of mine. Her name is Tamara. Hopefully we'll be having her on here within the next couple of months. She's a really interesting human being. She's basically a hippie who's become an anarchist. Literally over Father's Day weekend, she went, yeah, you're right about all that. You know, yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty rapid.
Yeah. I literally was playing her the Larkin Rose program about how statism is a religion, and they're talking about force and all this stuff as Kyra's trying to get stuff off a table, you know, in the middle of the room, and her parents aren't paying enough attention. And I'm like, and I can't get to her. So I immediately just, Kyra, really loud, scared shit out of me.
Right.
And scared shit out of her.
Right.
But it was the wrong thing to do at the time, sort of. Had I not done that, she might have got hurt.
Right.
But meanwhile, Tamara's trying to watch this thing on how not to be authoritarian, and I'm yelling at a kid.
Right.
So,
but there is that thing though, right? Like slapping a kid's hand when they're about to stick their finger on a hot stove or into an outlet or something like that.
Right.
Is an act of charity.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like it, but like you actually love that person enough to protect them from immediate harm.
Yeah.
There's some of this other stuff where it's like, okay, you want to eat a bunch of candy? I'm not going to like slap it out of your hands. I'm not going to rip it away from you or anything like that. But what we are going to do is, and that's what, like, RIP his reputation. But one of the things that I liked about some of the stuff that Stefan Molyneux taught is he taught a lot about like that type of parenting, and actually talking about like, look, you remember the last time you ate a bunch of candy and you got a tummy ache? Do you want that again? And actually like reasoning with the kid and helping them to think, okay, so some candy can be okay, but going to the dentist, having cavities, drilling in my teeth and all that stuff, and the stomach ache and some of the other stuff, like sometimes it'll make your taste buds swell up and shit like that. Like I'm to the point now where I eat so little sugar that when I do, I have a hard time. Like my tongue, I feel like my tongue is swelling up or something like that. My taste buds are like overactive. No, it's crazy. It's weird, but like I actually
because you're taking on another drug, but that's besides the point.
Yeah,
that's
true.
That's true. The point is that like that's what a lot of parents also like pipe up on their kids. Is like we stopped really caring about kids as soon as we send them to school because I swear to God, there was a video surfacing like a couple years ago where a man had like lit a piece of cheese on fire and like it wasn't melting. It was like turning the cheese black. And it was in like New York schools. And it's like, yo, we stopped paying attention to the kids' diet, to what they eat. And we all know that your stomach is one of the most important brains that you have to pay attention in what it processes. Because if you don't, then you start getting all these little funny other ones up here and all that other stuff. But the point being is that it's not even just the food or what they watch ingest via eyes, but what they ingest via mouth as well.
Well, let's talk about that school system though too, because that's another part of how that was another one of the things I wanted to talk about is like, Nicco, you're the one who's the closest to the school system because you were the most recently in it. Like, what do you remember?
Actually, not even that. I'm glad you brought that up because I completely forgot about bringing my brother up. So he brought up something about the Roe v. Wade. Or like no. Actually, I hope it's still on his Instagram. Give me 1 second. But
all right.
He posted something and it was about like
well, hey, look, why don't you look it up so you can read it? And while you do that, I'm going to read this by Jimmy. He said, my pops gave me lots of charity. Honestly, I learned a lot from actual physical parenting, and that actual physical parenting was few and far between. That was for sure. I thought when he said he got a lot of charity.
So yeah, right.
When I was talking about the slap on the wrist.
Right. So while Nicco's continuing,
it's if you're against abortion, don't get one. If you're against contraception, don't take any. If you're against same sex, don't have the same relationship. But if you're against same sex marriage, don't marry somebody of the same gender. Don't impose your beliefs on religion of all America. So it's like, even though it's like it's agreeing with my views, it's like it's still political. He's still getting political, and he's in high school. Like, why the fuck is a high school even worried about politics? The only people who should be worried about politics is the motherfuckers who pay the bills.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's another thing too. They're indoctrinating kids with political agendas.
It happened with me actually when Barack. When Barack was being we had a mock school vote. And they're like, oh, you got to keep your things private. We're not going to tell who did this, who did that. But I'm like, now I think about it, like, we were having kids vote on, like, presidency and really showing their demographic if they're, like, fucking Republican or a liberal.
Yeah.
Well, and
outing them to the teacher, too.
This is one of the things that was the most, you saw it, this is about 15, 20 years ago, probably 15. It started... Al Gore had already lost the presidency to W, and they were, I think it was when like An Inconvenient Truth came out, and it was all about the global warming stuff and everything. And he was basically telling kids, there's some stuff that your parents don't know, and you're going to have to educate them on it. And we're going to be here to tell you how your parents are stupid and how you're smarter than them, and how if you just listen to us and let us teach you this stuff, then you can teach your parents, basically. And it was like, wait, wow, that's quite the little gaslight there. Is you are convincing these kids that what you're telling them is in their best interest, and that their parents are not telling them what's in their best interest.
Right.
And that's, to me, that's the worst part of the school system.
For sure.
Is that what Marcus was saying about they're teaching that kid to disobey his dad, but they will not teach you to disobey your teacher.
Nope.
That's part of government, right, y'all?
Yep. And I, with that exact program, I watched the indoctrination, and my daughter fought it. She had a choice, and now we got out of it, and it's been, because this is my oldest daughter who's about to turn 30, so I've slept since then. But she had to watch Inconvenient Truth in class. She said, "No, I don't want to watch that propaganda," because she was raised by me.
Yeah,
and
that's how my kids are too. Like they're like little opposite narcs. They're like confidential informants.
You called your children narcs?
No, I said they're like reverse narcs. They're reporting. They're telling the
you about
they're telling the block.
They're
telling the block when 5-0's coming.
Right.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing.
But the teacher's response to her saying no was, you got a choice then. You can either watch this 2-hour video or you can write a 10-page essay. Those are your choices.
Oh, I'd write
on global warming.
I'd shred that bitch.
On global warming.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'll write the essay. Fuck you. I'll write the essay and I'll trash you the whole essay. Fuck you, bitch.
Right. I don't remember what our outcome was at the time. I don't think she watched it, and I think I got involved. I don't remember.
I wouldn't have done that paper either. If my dad told me, like, hey, look, your school's going to go around and tell you about a whole bunch of bullshit. So if they tell you you're going to watch this, just say you prefer not to. And stand up about it, because all those other little minions are not. So you be your own individual. And then when you get in class, you'd be like, my mama told me to tell you. And then, like, unless that goes down and they try and enforce a punishment, you could be like, no, because how are you going to enforce a punishment on me because of what my parents told me? So you're telling me that my OG is wrong, and you telling me that my OG's OG is wrong, and my grandmother not wrong. So you either gonna have to come up and tell my grandmother something, or you niggas gotta be proving me some real hard facts.
For sure.
Catch your grandma's hands.
Yeah. And to be clear, my daughter, you guys would both like Brianna. She's an awesome person, but my daughter was set up for this anyway, because even before I was still a conservative at this time.
Oh, wow.
When she was a little kid, and I'm talking about now, this was when she was not was at least a libertarian with the Al Gore stuff. But when she was a little bitty kid, she was in like kindergarten. They had a little boy that was beating up on the little girls, just coming around and whacking them. And I got a call from the office that I needed to come get my daughter because her and 6 other little girls beat the living shit out of a little boy. And I said, it sounds like he had it coming. That was the end of that.
Yeah. And look, that's what's funny. Did y'all see that video a while back where that girl like beat the shit out of that dude and then just took off running? And then he had the teacher was like, "Who was that? Find her! Not somebody tell me who that was." And all this stuff. It's like, no man, that dude had it coming. I'm sure. Like if a dude got his ass beat at school by a girl, he's probably doing some fuck shit.
More than likely, especially at school. Because girls are much more mature at that age. So
exactly.
All they do is just talk their shit like they do like when they're older, and then like go in their little groups,
go about their business.
But like a boy had to come up and antagonize you, like for her to whoop your ass. Like you've been fucking up too much, buddy.
Let my son be picking up, get his ass beat by 6 girls. Woo! He get 2 ass beatings that day.
What were you doing?
Right, what were you doing hitting some girls? Hell no.
Like that old Dave Chappelle thing where he's like, well, what did she do?
yeah, victim blaming.
You see Chris Rock beat Rihanna? Well, what did she do?
Right.
Oh shoot. All right, so let me since we've been going on about it for a minute, and I think we all know why we're doing this, why we're here, and what we're all about. Be a man. That's right, Jabari. Why we're doing this show. This show in general, but this particular episode. But I got reminded of this, and I couldn't help but bring it up. This is Matthew chapter 18. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" He called a little child to him and placed the child among them. And he said, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever takes the lowly position of this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Woe to the world because of the things that cause people to stumble. Such things must come, but woe to the person through whom they come. If your hand or your foot," and then he goes into, if your hand or your foot causes you to sin, cut it off. Yeah, and basically that's, if you've watched the stuff that I've been doing with Divine Intimacy, there's a lot of that where it's like these attachments, these things, these creations, they are not an end to themselves. They are a means to the end of union with God and becoming part of the body of Christ, becoming, helping to bring, the kingdom of heaven to earth. It is not, they're not meant to be ends themselves. And that's, to me, that's the thing that I think is like at the root of this, is that the people who are driving this stuff, they see the stuff here as the end. Mm-hmm. And they are trying to maximize all the pleasure and wealth and power and everything that they can here. And that is their end. So by any means necessary, whereas instead what we need to do is to fight in the other direction and to join the right team, right. and to not join their team out of fear or out of pressure or manipulation, but to stay on the team of righteousness and of good. Because the reality of the matter is, and this is what I put in the Anarch chat, is the gates of hell cannot prevail.
That's right.
We already won. It's just a matter of it's like looking at the squads and be like, all right, this is the one time it's okay to be a bandwagon jumper, because that bandwagon is the champions of the whole universe forever and ever, good. All eternity. And they're good. They're not evil. You don't have to jump on an evil bandwagon. You don't have to be a Patriots fan. You can just join the team of God and the team of righteousness and just not harming children. I mean, Jesus, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff.
It's not out of a concept. I mean, as soon as I can't say anything about it, but I know you gentlemen can most definitely have much more of an emotional sentiment. But no,
you have young people in your life that matter.
I understand that, but when you have your own child, your own creation, something that's a part of you, that is you, you would never let anything on this motherfucking planet or the next universe over fuck with them ever.
Right.
And so therefore you guys understand the mama bear mentality complex, and then the father bear, like you guys have that. Nothing on this planet, because if it shall something happens and I gotta there's a mama on the TV crying, guess what? This world is being lit on fire because I'm gonna figure out what's happening.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and this is pervasive in our culture too. It has gotten to the point where all of this stuff is everywhere. Everything from simple stuff like, go look at Pedialyte. It's got huge amounts of fluoride in it. Go look at it. This is for kids. No, I'm not.
I was smacking on Pedialyte just to stay hydrated for wrestling. I've been juicing myself with fucking fluoride.
Pedialyte's terrible.
Bitch.
Yeah. Sorry, so this is Jesus is talking to Oh, he's talking to Peter. It says, this is in Matthew chapter 16. And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Right.
I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." So it's that's where I got that from. That's the thing that we have to keep in mind. And the other thing too, this is an image that I was given. I don't remember who revealed this to me, but it was pretty impressive to think about. So when you think about that phrase, "the gates of hell shall not prevail," what do gates not do? They do not move. So the gates of hell are stationary, and even they cannot prevail. Like God's love bursts through the gates of hell,
right?
And the gates of hell don't advance. Right. So again, we just have to continue to grow in our relationship with love and with God, and and the rest will, if we follow that and don't let ourselves get attached to these other things. That's where that stuff about gouging your eye out and cutting your hand off and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that was a little obsessive. Yeah,
hopefully it doesn't come to that. But
kind of crazy, kind of mental.
Yeah. Well, but if it's really, because I think too, some of that
just cut their hands off back in the day.
But listen. How many times have you heard somebody say like, I know, but I'm so like, I can't not do it. Okay, like, well, if you can't not do it, then maybe whatever that thing is that's keeping you from not being able to not do it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's
might want to get rid of that.
I think it was more of like, stop making excuses for yourself. You're full of shit. You're full of shit.
Yeah.
It's the willpower thing.
I gotta say though, as a comment to what you're saying, Chad, because I agree 100%. Even though I'm not a Christian, there's certainly a good team and a bad team, yes. and it's what I've never understood about Satanists. I don't believe in Satan. Satan is not part of my belief system. I don't believe in him. But if I did, I would not be on his side. I don't understand Satanists that believe all this nonsense, and they believe they're going to lose. I mean, come on. Why would you do this stupid shit? But I do think that you were on to, we've talked about this before. You were
on to said, be a Satanist, be a man. No, I'm just joking. He didn't say that. It's like, be a man, join the losing team, just to prove how much of a man you are.
For sure. Yay.
Because we're for the underdogs. Woo! Right. No evil.
We already know they're going to lose. Yay. It's kind of like Chicago most of the time. Anyway.
Oh, my gosh. I had to go slander my cuz, man.
I know. I had to.
Whoa. From Indy? You chopping shit from Indy?
I'm telling you. Because I'm a big sports expert. I'll tell you.
I was going to say, Indiana don't have no professional sports except the Pacers. That's all you got.
Oh, no.
They haven't been keeping pace, my friends. Oh, yeah. The Colts is like.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about the Colts. My bad. Yeah. All right. My bad.
So, yikes.
It's because they used to not have a team. That's why I forgot.
It's all good. But at the end of the day, there isn't a religion out there that doesn't teach the kinds of things that Chad is talking about. There, aside from the ignorant Satanists. And I do think that Chad is absolutely spot on. We've talked about this before, but the difference, most people lose when you start talking about theology, they lose themselves in, okay, what is hell? How is hell? This doesn't make any sense. It's very simple. And this is from a variety of different places, a variety of different religions that believe that hell or the bad place, whatever the place is, and not all religions have it, but a lot of them have reincarnation where you wind up bad anyway. Long story short, all of them have it. And the idea is that bad place is supposed to be avoided because it is in absence of God.
Yeah,
the place, right? You're not really supposed to be afraid of flames and pain and all that stuff. What it is the separation from God of your soul. And that is something we cannot understand. We do not know what it's like to not have God in our lives. We don't know, because even those assholes that are trying to run the Klaus Schwab's, in the NWO, and all these assholes, all of them, just like Chad said earlier, believe that this is it. So they're not trying at all to exist past this reality. And when you take that out, and I'm not talking about atheists, some atheists have an understanding of morality and an understanding of what's good and bad. And I wouldn't link them with us. I would say they're just the good atheists. They're good people. They don't want to hurt kids. They want to live their life and be nice to people. Fine.
Yeah, they just believe their ethics come from somewhere else.
Correct.
It's
right. But
more a question of revelation, I think, than of like intention, proper intention. I think they have the proper intention. I think they just haven't had it revealed to them yet through experience, that relationship with God. Yeah.
Right. And that can be shown out. Thomas Paine, who was a deist, not an atheist, but he said, the day that Jesus shows up on my porch and says, "Hey, I'm here." Now, of course, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, and this is from The Age of Reason, his book on deism. He said, the only reason I don't believe is because I haven't seen it. Prove it to me. I'm there. I want to believe, because he was a good man, and he wanted to be just like everybody else in his time and all of that. But at the end of the day, those people have chosen evil. The people that are attacking these kids and doing this have chosen evil. They have said to them one way or another. I believe what Mark Passio said to Chris Rice. I think that they come to them and they say, "We need you to do this, and then you're going to be famous. You're going to do this." You covered it a little bit earlier. I don't know that it is killing somebody. I don't know what it is, but it may be raping kids. I don't know.
Look, think about gang initiation and stuff.
Like get blackmail to a certain degree, and then therefore you're hot, and then when you start to tweak and start to mess up, oh wait, what did you do again? You're dirty.
Remember, we got video of that. Right. We have photographs. Whatever it is, and so going back, like gang initiation is like you got to jump. You got to you got to get jumped in, or you got to go, or you gotta kill somebody. You get jumped in, or you got to go beat somebody up or kill them. But anyway, what I was going to say too is, and I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. To your point about like fire and flames and all that stuff, I think the most beautiful depiction that I've ever heard was when Father Turbo on the Royal Path podcast said that the fires of hell are the love of God, that it's the same light that reassures the person who is doing good that terrifies the person who is not. And it may not even necessarily just be back to my brother's thing about like, God isn't some cop standing on the corner, looking around the corner of the building to see if you're doing something, having fun. Like, no, this isn't about that, about like, oh, you made somebody mad, so therefore you're separated. No, this is about a willful choice to separate ourselves because we don't feel like we are worthy of forgiveness. Most of the time, that's what and that's where ultimately, that's where like some of the stuff with suicide comes from. You feel like there's no hope, that it can't get any better. There's not going to be, the sun's not going to come up tomorrow. And so our soul commits suicide in a way when we go down that path, because we don't see that there's hope and that there's a possibility for reconciliation and for union. The other thing that I was going to say, I forgot it. Well,
I have
maybe next time. I something else that you were saying. Oh, I know what it was. All right. So just to give you like a way to kind of describe that, like give me a food that you cannot stand.
Beets.
Okay. So I don't mind beets. I think beets are okay. Like whatever, pickled beets, I think they can be all right. Nicco, you got anything?
The devil.
Okay. I've actually had beet bacon. Like somebody made bacon out of like beet. It's like slivers.
Ruined bacon.
It tasted just like bacon. Anyway, go ahead, Nicco. Food you hate. You're muted. He hates his mic.
No, I know what it's called. What the fuck is it? It's Haitian dish, and
Oh well, not something that I know what it is, and it's got to be something that other people like. It can't just be like
something that I like but people dislike.
No, something that other people like that you don't like.
I can't stand why you nasty motherfuckers like Kit Kat bars. I hate Kit Kat bars.
Kit Kat. Okay, so Kit Kat bars are good. That's so. If you had said like Three Musketeers or something, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. Like fucking just nougat and chocolate. Like it's too much.
No,
Kit Kat's really good. So this is where I was going with this. Is that like there are people who the love of God is like, oh, this is awesome. This is delicious. And then there are other people who are like, beets.
I love beets actually.
Kit Kat. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. It's like it's the same thing. It's just repulsive to one person, and it's the thing to the other person. And what we have to do, the difference is that in the case of the love of God, this is not something that's up to taste. Like the being that created everything. It's only natural for the creation to want to be reunited with the Creator,
For sure.
right? So to the extent that we aren't, that is the free will that we have been given, because it wouldn't be any good. It would be pointless. All this stuff would be stupid, and why would we even be having these discussions? Why would we even have the capacity to think? And to have these different thoughts and to have arguments and disagreements about this stuff, if we were all just programmed automatons who had to love God because it was hardwired into us and we had no choice but to love God. It wouldn't be love. It would just be programming. And that's the difference. And that's why this shit is important. And that's why it's so important for them that the way that this whole episode got kind of birthed was I shared this video in the Anarch chat. Join the Anarch chat so you can see it. If anybody joins, I'll repost it.
Below.
But it was this woman who was talking about some people who were like in the upper rungs of this cabal of wickedness, who they were talking about how this is a direct attack on God, and the way that they're going about it is through attacking children. Back to what I read from Matthew chapter 18, because how do you enter into the kingdom of God? By becoming like a child.
Right.
And what better way to undermine a whole set of generations than to attack, manipulate, exploit, and even destroy children?
Yeah.
Because that's the future. You take out the future, you don't have to worry about anything else. As soon as you chop it at the kneecap, at like 3 months old, it's a wrap. Because that's the easiest way to conquer somebody. The easiest way.
Yeah.
It's not going over there bombing them. It's to psychologically fuck their people, so therefore they cannot function as a society anymore.
To manufacture consent.
That's easily hands down what they're doing to us right now.
Sure.
And
you're absolutely right. Yeah, and they do it constantly. One of the things that I think that we're missing and that people like us are missing is this is not new. Like we talked about with Disney, Disney's been doing this stupid shit for a long time. And Cosby was, back in the day, I bitched about most because you're right about Ozark, that there I don't think there's a gay main character, but back in the day, every dad was dumber than a rock and every woman was a rocket scientist.
Well, it still is that way. It still is that way.
What about Love and Marriage? Love and Marriage with Al and his wife.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
That's
I don't
actually
even-
not as bad as some.
that was
He was-
actually a solid show. He wasn't. He'd make fun of his wife, but she was kind of a bimbo. So
Yeah,
Right.
and his daughter was too, and she was always bringing home these trashy guys, and then Bud was always trying to like get with women and all that stuff, and it was like this. It was playing on the edges.
Mhm.
It wasn't My Three Sons or the Leave It to Beaver or anything like that, which is funny. Yeah, like all right, think about it. So like they have this show and they're like, let's call it Leave It to Beaver. I mean, we'll just call it's just
Yeah, there's
hey.
porn named that.
You know what I
too.
mean? Like it's like they can't. Nothing can just be like pure. It has to anyway. But
that's so crazy though. Wait,
Is Leave It to Beaver and all
Yeah.
lesbian porno? I just gotta know.
like it's so funny how like they come up with these names so covertly that a child can use on a daily, and then another one who's already traumatized is like, oh, you know what a beaver is? Like
Right.
they're so reckless. Just like, why y'all do too much with this stuff now?
Right.
and his name. Listen, this little innocent boy. His name was Beaver Cleaver. I mean, listen.
I know that. that
I'm a
was-
beaver cleaver. Just saying.
Well, I mean, look. We try to act like this shit used to be innocent, and now I'm
You
like,
were never innocent.
bro,
Yeah,
they
y'all
really
was
called
found back
this
in the day,
dude
too.
Beaver Cleaver.
Y'all found back in the day too. Y'all weren't getting away from me.
You know what's funny?
And
Coincidence.
his mom and dad had to sleep in separate beds. They had twin
Right.
beds, and that was the thing on TV back in the day. Mom and dad didn't even sleep in the same bed together on
Right.
TV, even though we all like that wasn't how.
Because
it
they
was.
weren't married.
Oh, well, they were married, but it was even then. It was like, I'll say this: shout out to the people who did that, because at least then, for them, they like respected. You know what? These kids watching this, they might not know that mommy and daddy sleep in the same bed. I don't know. Let's make them sleep in separate beds. If we show a thing where they're in the bedroom together, talking, they're not going to be under the covers together in the same bed or whatever. They were actually, in a certain way, maybe trying to preserve or protect the innocent eyes of the kids they're watching. Just not when they named it Beaver Cleaver or named him Beaver Cleaver. I see when it's Beaver Cleaver, it doesn't sound like that. But when you call him Beaver Cleaver, man, it's a whole different. just that little different inflection changes
fantastic.
the whole context of that show.
Yeah,
What's
Eddie
funny?
Haskell all of a sudden is the good guy.
Right. But what's funny, coincidence is the thing. My daughter, it couldn't have been a week ago, was talking about naming kids, and she goes, like maybe name a kid Beaver. And both Amber and I were like, okay, nobody names their kid Beaver, and you damn sure better not.
Oh my gosh.
You know.
two kids, Beaver and Cock.
Right. Yeah.
No, those
that's
things
reckless.
mean different things, man. Like you can't do
Right.
that. It's
Right.
not okay. Oh, jeez.
I'm
So-
not doing that.
I hate the world. It's
an interesting place. To say
the
the
prince.
I
The
don't.
prince of this world is. I know you don't believe in him, Marcus, but I don't know.
I believe in evil, though.
Yeah. Well, he.
And I
He's
think
a-
it
he's
can
a
be
slippery,
personified. I
slippery
just don't
bastard.
think it is one personification.
So, but if all right, yeah. So, I mean, I definitely think that. All right. So, if there's a prince of darkness,
Mhm.
he certainly has
Minions.
an army of underlings, demons, and demon deputies and whatnot. But yeah, I just go back to that old. What's the devil's greatest trick is to convince people that he doesn't exist. Because it's
Right.
like when you and that's what's so great about the Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis is he goes through this whole thing of this uncle talking to his nephew about how to go about zapping souls properly, and he's like, no, just keep them preoccupied, keep them distracted, keep them focused on the wrong things. You don't need to. What you don't need is for them to get passionate about something. Because then they might realize that either it doesn't fulfill what their passion was, or like there's even a thing where this guy has this thought about doing something, and he's like, no, get him off of that thought and have him decide that he's going to deal with that after lunch. And then once you get him off going to lunch, he's going to think of 10, 30 different things.
Right.
And by the time he comes back from lunch, he's going to be like, that wasn't that big of a deal. I'm just not even going to pursue that anymore.
What's funny, Chad, apply that to what they do with gay marriage, with what they do with abortion, what they do. So the state, the big shock, is using the tools of the devil.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I don't know about you.
We need to have your shocked face on the on a GIF on the show, so we can throw you up there with your.
We need to have him transition in like a batarang, and then like his head just grows across the screen. Shocked, like I'm sorry.
Oh, look, that so Jay is like, he's the one who does the movie stuff with Ken and Hotep and everything. He's on his shit with entertainment stuff. So he says Mary Kay and Johnny in 1947 was the first show to have a bed with a couple in it. The episode may have been Trail of something. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. He said, I don't recall Leave It to Beaver, the image in the bed. So it was just Ward and June had separate twin beds, and they had like a nightstand in between the two beds. And they would sit in there, and like it would be like they would both be in bed, getting ready to go to bed, talking to each other, but they weren't in the same bed.
Around that time period, when did you guys have sex ed? Like what?
I didn't have sex ed.
You didn't have sexual education. What about you, Chad?
He says he watched too much TV and film, and he doesn't recall, or he recalls a lot of it.
Well.
I'm sorry. What was your question again? I was reading Jay's.
Born within like what, a year, couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't have sexual education.
Yes, we did, and I think in 8th grade, seventh and 8th grade, or at least 8th grade, and that's where my religion teacher. We had it in religion class, and my religion teacher. Let's say we had one thing in like health class, like which was like the PE complement or whatever. They would do like a PE for a semester or for 9 weeks, and then health or something like that for another 9 weeks. Anyway, we also had a religion class, and in our religion class, I remember my religion teacher at a Catholic school telling me that Jesus probably masturbated. And I'm like,
what? That's reckless, Brody.
Bro,
what?
Like, what are you talking about?
His ass should have been to jail. His ass should have went to jail.
And I, of course, me being just like my kids, I was like, yo, mom and dad, y'all aren't going to believe this shit.
Yeah, Jesus beat off.
This motherfucker said that Jesus spanked his junk, man. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Is that true? And they're like, oh my God. And then I was like, I wouldn't say that they necessarily, called 5-0 on him or anything like that, but they had some words with the administration. They had some words for the administration.
Sure.
You know?
Can you tell this teacher to have a conversation with us?
Right.
That's reckless.
To be clear, Nicco, we did have, because I had the health class like Chad did, but I would not have called it sex education. They said, this is what a penis looks like. Yeah. This is what a vagina looks like. Don't put them together. It's pretty much.
It's a whole museum. It's called the Robert Crown Museum.
No.
It was way more descriptive than that for us. We got like the whole anatomy of the insides of everything, and the
health education,
the glans and the vas deferens and the
they did go into like you're talking about, but that's not sex ed, that's biology, and they're not.
Well, this was about
having sex.
Oh yeah. Well,
the school tried teaching us about sex, the puberty talk, the sex talk, and timing. Yeah, they took us to a thing called Robert Crown, and there was a sexual education.
You say timing. What do you mean by timing?
Let me see.
Are you talking about like when it's okay to do it, or like
probably the rhythm method?
No, I just looked up the website because I don't remember. It was like years and years and years ago. But I'm looking through this now. Affirmations, information giving.
I never understood why they call it the rhythm method. I'm sorry.
Rhythm method?
Yeah, I followed the rhythm method. Did I mention I had a child at 17?
So there is actually some stuff that you can do that is like it's you can have sex and you can do it at the right times, and you won't get pregnant.
And you can fail a lot too, though.
No, not really. Not if like this. What I'm talking about with not. There are methods that are terrible that tends to be this. This is like regular. This is like first you have to do like a long term monitoring, like when you're not having sex, where you monitor like temperature and cervical mucus consistency and all this other kind of stuff.
I was not doing that at 16.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. I'm anyway. It's and it actually like natural family planning has like the divorce rate is like well below 10%.
Sure.
For people who do that because it also
work for
the sort of thing where you get where there's more of a co-equal like you take part the way that it's taught anyway in like Catholic circles is you both take an active role. Like I'm taking her temperature and she's measuring her own cervical mucus. I mean, I can measure it for you, but
it's about this deep.
No, you don't do it like that. But no, that. But I was wondering if you were talking about that timing or the timing of like what age.
Well,
then that
from what I read, it was a girl who was turning 27, trying to reflect back on the timing that she was going to have with her kids. So I think that might have been parenting, but it's not a place to go anymore. But no, they most definitely did teach us about sexual education. And I don't remember, but like every kid like dreaded a certain part. I think when it came to pregnancy and all that fun stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. This is what school is about.
It's so weird that they would do that shit too in mixed company. Because it's just going to turn certain things into shit that people giggle and laugh about, people clown other people about, and you're missing the whole point of why you're trying to do it. You're trying to do this.
Why do it for immature little ass kids?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like some of this shit is so fucking dumb, the way that they go about this shit. And I know they think they're doing the right thing because they don't want sixth graders getting pregnant and shit like that. But I'm telling you,
how it's done.
Having kids put a condom on a cucumber in 5th grade ain't the approach,
right?
I promise you.
Factual.
That's
because that just makes them more curious at the end of the day,
right? And and also it makes them think that they know something. And then I saw one where this woman's like putting the thing on the cucumber with her mouth in a class of kids.
Yeah, I did see that.
You are seriously teaching these kids this?
That's
like,
crazy.
I mean, shit. Like that's
just wait like 4 or 5 years from now.
That's a good skill to learn, but like you don't need to be teaching kids that shit. Anyway, that was a joke, y'all didn't.
That was a slapper of the knee
when I said that.
Well, I'm sorry, but this shit just pisses me off.
Yeah, no, for sure it does. But yeah, so no, we learned, and so this is back to the thing I was saying about like how it just turns into like this giggle shit and all this other dumb shit that people do. Like I remember, like as soon as we learned what and where the cervix was, everybody swore that they had banged up against it. Because that's how deep I'm fishing.
Right.
Like
I found it.
It's like I know what the cervix is. It's like no, you don't. You so full of shit. Like
right.
You're a virgin.
Well, on top of that, little Jimmy, you're that big.
Right. Exactly.
Calm down.
Right. That same teacher who told us that Jesus probably masturbated. He was telling us all about how like the vaginal canal is only like 3 inches deep or something like that and everything and we were just all like afterwards we're all just like laughing like that dude's just trying to explain away why it's okay for him. Like shit was funny.
Yeah, and
Nicco went silent.
I'm sorry.
And these people that try to argue that well, parents are hard to talk to. I agree. Sometimes I'm a shit. If my kids come talk to me, yes, because I've got to explain everything to them because I feel like I should. It might be an hour that I'm going to explain some shit, so I can understand why.
They're always like, I didn't want you to give me a lecture. Just say yes or no.
Right, for sure.
But this ain't that simple.
Right, but so I get that sometimes the parent isn't the the solution. You know who isn't also the solution? A fucking drag queen in the middle of a kindergarten. That's
Hey,
that's who's
full
not the
circle.
solution.
You brought it all full circle.
I know. I'm good at that.
That's awesome.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I remember when my little cousins got to talk about their parents, and they also watched their birth videos.
Oh gosh, that'll make you not want to have sex.
Yeah, and so they were traumatized by the word "the womb" for like for like 2 months. So my brother and I would walk up to him, and we just go, "The womb," and then he'd be like, and walk away.
See, that's the kind of thing that Chad's talking about, though, because we did something very similar. Like I said, they just went over biology, only we were calling the women womens. They were women's.
Women's. Oh shit, that's
very similar, Nicco.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh well.
So you guys ready to wrap up?
I think we pretty much beaten this one to death. Beaver Cleaver and the.
Although I am from now on, I want the title Beaver Cleaver. That is amazing.
Didn't we have a lot of laughs on this good old 5 day? What'd I tell you, boys?
For sure. Thank you, guys.
Oh,
I had a rough day, and
I'm glad we could give you a little gallows laughter or whatever you want to call it in this.
The Beaver Cleaver.
Nicco's got a new
I should have never gave you
channel. Right, Nicco's got a new channel on our show. And Nicco does have a new channel he's trying out. Y'all should go check it out, especially as he gets more practice.
I am officially going to be the energetic, weatherman, and giving them the forecast and dropping it. So be on the lookout for the next week's. If you join Patreon, you get it earlier.
It's perfect that Scott came in right now. Oh my god.
He was at my house.
You missed it, Scott. Beaver Cleaver and the cervix reliever. We're all anyway.
Yeah, he did.
Welcome to the show.
Right, Scott did his duty and went and put up with the GOP. He went and put up with the GOP a couple weeks ago. He did do his duty.
Just made it childish again.
I know, I knew that.
Yeah, we had our GOP convention in Lafayette this week, and I had some people inviting me to go and everything. I was like, no, man, I was working my ass. Me and my wife were working our ass off all day Saturday and Sunday in the yard getting ready for this. We got this big party.
Chad's going to take over
for the Health Freedom Louisiana folks. They're coming to our house for fireworks and all that good stuff on the 4th of July. We can
Chad for president.
We can celebrate the shred of freedom that we still have after the Louisiana legislature and especially the governor. Like the little bit of stuff that actually made it through and actually got passed as bills, he vetoed them all, including that. If the legislature or if the Louisiana Department of Health is going to make a new rule on like what happens to kids or any of this other stuff, that they have to inform the legislature to let the legislature know so that the legislature can elect to call a special session to vote on any of this stuff, to possibly override it or anything. He vetoed that. He's like, nah, I don't have to let y'all know shit. I'm just going to do whatever I do, and then y'all have to figure it out. Yeah, exactly. State of stating. There was another one about like, it was that they have to let the parents know that their kids can file for exemptions from the mandates.
And then they said,
and they're like, he's like, nah, veto. I don't have to let y'all know shit. So this is this back to what we were saying before, Matthew 18. That motherfucker, unless he, God bless him. I hope he repents and changes his ways. But the path that he's going on, causing these little ones to stumble, better that a millstone be tied around his neck and he be cast into the depths of the sea. Because there's a special ring of hell for the people who use children to push their little pharmaceutical agenda because their pockets are getting lined by these motherfuckers, these manufacturers, and anyway, testing facilities and everything. Whew. Anyway, it was more fun when we were talking about Beaver Cleaver, but
For sure.
yeah.
But Chad, you're doing God's work, and like I said, I wish I was in Louisiana so I could vote for you when they convince you to run for something, because I just want to see it.
This show's going to be my undoing.
I know.
They're going to be like, weren't you? You're the Beaver Cleaver guy, right?
Yep.
Damn
like
straight,
American Pie, you
motherfucker.
can't get away from it.
Get the 3 kids. I came by those 3 kids honestly.
Right. Yeah. So the bottom line is I don't vote, but I'd vote just for the fucking sheer, just for the sheer like enjoyment of you in Congress. Like I said, you'd make Thomas Massey look like a raging socialist.
So much fun for all 15 minutes until they like ran me out of town.
Yeah,
No,
they're
you'd
gonna
be able to go
they're
anywhere
gonna
again.
black van Chad, and then all he's gonna do is pull out his FBI hat, and they're gonna stand down, and they realize he was the psyop. Chad is gonna get out very scot-free, everybody.
You
Y'all
want to
should
carry
watch
that shit
out.
around everywhere.
Watch
I
out.
wish I was that powerful.
Yeah,
All right.
Scott-
Well, in the meantime, everybody, y'all stay powerful and
stay free.
peace.